good? It's your girl Lyss and we're back with another video. How y'all feeling today? I'm honestly feeling kind of down today. I got some bad news that I'm trying to shake off. But this video is actually about my mental health journey. I asked you guys to ask me some questions and I'll be answering those. So if you want to hear all about my self-care routines and my journey, keep on watching. Let's get into it. And yes, we brought back tea time with Lyss. So go ahead and grab your favorite warm beverage, whether it's tea, coffee, apple cider, hot chocolate, whatever it is. Just make sure it's soothing to the soul, and we'll get right into these topics. Ooh, that's so good. I'll leave a description of like the tea that I'm drinking because it's my all-time favorite tea. Shout out to Kim for putting me on. Alright, let's get into it. So I wrote down some notes on the questions that were asked. So before we get into the questions, I just want to do a brief little intro about me and what my healing journey has kind of looked like. So in February or January of 2021, I was diagnosed with bipolar depression. And I had been struggling with my mental health since high school, since I was about 15 years old. I struggled with depression and really high anxiety, and that's kind of what I was diagnosed with at first, was generalized anxiety disorder and minor depression. But as time moved on, you know, some of my psychiatrists weren't really convinced that it was unipolar depression, which means you just dip low, your mood dips low. She was convinced that it was bipolar, where it dips low and it goes high. It goes through a cycle of highs and lows, and like, of course, mediums as well. So it wasn't until I had psychosis, a psychotic break, that my bipolar depression was diagnosed. And it was a really hard time in my life. It was a really hard time. I had just moved out of my parents' place. My roommate situation wasn't exactly the best, and it just felt like I was living for other people, and I had a lot of stressors in my life, but we'll get more into that in the video, as that was one of the questions. But yeah, that's just a brief intro to like my mental health journey and how it started in like high school and how it's carried me to now. But yeah, over the past 2 years, I've kind of gotten to know myself a lot more and gotten to know my journey more. And I definitely say that my mental health is the best that it's ever been. And that's because of how I'm taking care of myself. And not necessarily the stressors that are around me, because the stressors are still there. It's just that I'm better at taking care of myself. So the first question is, where do you start? So I start personally by accepting my emotions for as they are, or what they are. This may look like just feeling, allowing myself to just feel it, like not trying to analyze it, not trying to start off by like, okay, what do I feel, what is this, why do I feel this way, you know, just allowing myself to exist and just be. I found that is very therapeutic. I also start with asking myself, okay, what brings me joy, what am I passionate about, what is going to recharge me, and how can I implement those things into my life daily. And then once I kind of allow myself to feel, then I can go into my analysis. I'm a Virgo moon, so you know, I'm always analyzing. So then I allow myself to actually analyze, okay, what is it that I'm feeling? There's actually a really good emotions chart. You can look them up. If you don't know what you're feeling, but you feel sad, or you feel angry, or you feel happy, it will help you break down like, okay, what is the emotion I actually feel? Sadness could be disappointment. Anger could be sadness, honestly. Sadness that has been building up inside of you for way too long, if that makes sense. So it helps you to go deeper into how you feel. And a lot of times where I start is journaling. So I just write out a stream of consciousness. I really like poetry because it allows me to express myself in a creative way. But sometimes I just stream of conscious, just write down what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and it kind of reveals to me, you know, what is going on in my life and in my mind and in my heart, really. I would also say a great place to start would be changing your mindset and your surroundings. Those are things that you can control. You can control to a degree your surroundings. You can control who's around you, like your friends. You definitely can control that. But overall, you can control your mindset. You can control how you go into something thinking. You can control, you know, whether you're gonna have a good day or not, whether bad things happen to you or not. You control how you're going to react to them, if that makes sense. So that's definitely like where I would start. So I would start with allowing myself to feel, naming my emotions, journaling or stream of consciousness, and figuring out what brings me joy and changing my mindset. The second question is, what helps you the most? So I already kind of talked about this, but journaling and stream of consciousness, sometimes I don't have the energy to write or to type, so I speak it out. Or, you know, sometimes you feel like you just need to talk to somebody, but sometimes you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody else. You know, you want to talk kind of to yourself. So I voice record, you know, as if I'm talking to a friend, but I talk to myself. And I found that that's actually very therapeutic for me as well. Another thing that helps me the most is therapy. Like I said, being able to talk it out is really important, and having a professional there who is trained on how to help you work through those emotions has been very, very instrumental in my mental health journey. I started therapy sophomore year of college, so that was, how many years ago was that? I want to say 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I started therapy 5 years ago, and I would say it's changed my life. And it's not just the act of going to therapy. You actually have to apply what you learn in therapy and what you talk about in therapy to your real life, or else you're kind of wasting your money, your resources, and it's not going to work if you don't put in the extra work outside of therapy. Yeah, it definitely helps to talk to someone professional. I would also say, especially being neurodivergent, routine and consistency is really what helps me a lot. So I have my routines for the mornings. I have my routines for bedtime. I have my routine for whatever it is that I'm doing that day, and sticking to a routine and things being on a routine definitely helps me a lot, and it helps me to blend self-care into my daily habits, if that makes sense. So making it a part of my routine, it kind of becomes something that I crave, if that makes sense. I would also say that staying active helps me a lot. I do dance and yoga. I also sometimes go walking. That definitely helps me a lot. There's a lot of benefits to staying active physically and mentally. So yeah. Alright, and the last thing that helps me is following my passions. You know, doing what brings me joy is definitely something that has helped my mental health a lot. Is also following my intuition and knowing what is for me and what is not, and really listening to that voice, because it's not lying to you. It's really not. So the next question is, how do you practice self-care on a daily now? So I try to do one thing per day that is for me. So a lot of times this looks like on my lunch break, watching a YouTube video while I eat and doing no work while I'm on my lunch break. I either watch a YouTube video or I meditate, and on my way to work I like to meditate to music. I like to listen to gospel music. It really sets my mind frame for the day and starts me out on a good foot of, you know, God has me today. You know, whatever happens, I know it's for my good, and everything is going to work for my good in the end. Having a bedtime routine has been very instrumental in my daily self-care. It's kind of sacred to me, and it's just like that, taking care of myself physically. I'm able to slow down, and I'm able to think about my day. I'm able to think about what I want to bring into the next day, what I want to leave behind. And that's definitely something that has helped me a lot. And if y'all want a nighttime routine video, let me know in the comments below. And I would say being active daily, like I said before, is something that helps me. So being active daily, whether that's dance or yoga or walking, you know, that's something that really helps me. All right, the next question is, how do you stay consistent? And this is a big one. Like I was saying, routine and consistency is key. It's key to a lot of things, but especially to mental health. You have to stay consistent. And I would say it's hard. So number one rule is definitely give yourself grace. If you're not going walking every single day, don't beat yourself up about it, because that's only going to make matters worse. I would say with consistency, the biggest thing is momentum. The more that you're consistent, the easier it becomes, and the more you're going to crave those actions that once felt like a chore, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I would say start out small. Try to take small bites. Don't try to say, okay, if it's feasible for you, maybe go walking every day. But maybe start out by saying, okay, I want to walk 2 to 3 times a week, and see if you can reach that goal. And once you have, you can increase it, and that will really boost your confidence in yourself and in your care journey. So I would definitely say give yourself grace and start small. Small bites, big plate. Okay, so I would definitely say that. So the next question is, what do you do when you realize you're not feeling stable? I would say at this point, it would be really important for me to take a step back and rest. Like whatever that looks like, however I can rest, do it. Whether that's active rest, like doing things that I like to do, or whether that's laying on my couch and just existing. That's definitely what I do when I'm not feeling stable. It also helps to verbalize it to someone, someone who can hold you accountable to taking care of yourself. A lot of times when you're in these low moods or, you know, having breakdowns, it's really hard to hold yourself accountable to taking care of yourself. So if there's someone that you can reach out to make sure that you eat that day, or that you drink water, or that you take your medication, you know, I would say that that's something that I would do first when you start to realize, okay, I'm not really feeling my best right now and I don't want it to get worse. So let me take a step back and let me verbalize it, let someone know. Because I feel like a lot of times when we verbalize something, we think it's going to make it real, or realer than it already is. But in reality, it kind of takes the power away from it. And we're able to take our power back and say, no, I'm feeling this way, and this is what I'm going to do about it. Even if doing something about it is doing nothing. Because rest is so important to the mental health journey. You have to rest. You have to. You know? We go so hard, and it's like the society we live in honors productivity, and productivity for productivity's sake. Like, not necessarily getting a lot done or getting important things done. It's just like, get things done now, when rest is so important. So the next question is, how do you handle unexpected breakdowns? Now, unexpected breakdowns can be really scary and can honestly feel like a setback, like you're going backwards in your healing journey. But I want you to, you know, go against that notion that an unexpected breakdown is a setback, because healing is not linear. We don't just start here and go all the way up here to you know, oh, I'm healed, I'm all better. No, it's a constant cycle of up and down. And it's okay if you dip low. That does not mean you're set back. You're still moving on your path towards happiness, towards healthiness. You know what I mean? But it's not going to be a full setback. Sometimes we're just triggered, and those unexpected breakdowns can be really scary. So here's some things that I like to do when I have an unexpected breakdown. Like I said before, when you realize you're feeling unstable, or if you're at a breakdown, it's kind of past that point. So when those unexpected breakdowns come on, take a break. Rest. You have to. It's the only way you're going to make it through. And I would say when those happen, allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to feel. A lot of times we like to run away from how we feel, which is honestly sometimes how these unexpected breakdowns come. Is because we've been bottling so much up, and it just comes like something small could trigger us into having this huge breakdown, and we're like, what's even going on? Why am I reacting like this? And instead of judging yourself, just allow yourself to feel that emotion, and however long it lasts, just allow it to pass, because it will pass. Everything will pass. One thing about time is it will pass, and with it, every emotion will pass as well. On days when I have unexpected breakdowns, I like to nurture myself, whether that's physically, feeding myself good foods, bathing, really moisturizing my skin. I love to moisturize my skin. Doing body scrub, just going the extra mile with everything if you can. You know, the most energy that you can put into taking care of yourself, please do it. And on the topic of unexpected breakdowns, we're going to talk about triggers. The next question is, do you know what your trigger was? And in terms of, they're asking about my psychosis and what triggered my big breakdown that led to me being hospitalized in a mental health facility. So for me, my triggers at the time were negative surroundings. So I was surrounded by a lot of people, or like I had this mindset that I had to please everybody around me. So that was a stressor. My living environment was not the best. What else? I was also overexerting myself. I was spreading myself very thin when it came to work, when it came to my extracurriculars, when it came to, at this point I was graduated from college, but I think that the breakdown was a buildup of years of, one, untreated bipolar depression, but also years of just like putting my mental health on the back burner. You know, I told you I started therapy when I was in a sophomore, so that means that I was 19, but I had been experiencing mental health crises since I was 15. You know, like that's 4 years of just not talking to anyone, not even my friends, about how I feel. That's a lot on the mind. And college was like better because I was talking about it, but it was not being treated the way it should have been. Therefore, it was a buildup, and I broke. It also ties back to trauma that I had. I don't really want to get too much into it because I don't really want to relive it right now, but the triggers were definitely trauma based, and a lot of it was like things would remind me of something else that happened in the past, and because that was never addressed, it led to everything feeling like it was crushing weight on me and on my mind. You know, I saw this post that triggers are a way that our brain is trying to protect us. So if you're ever feeling triggered, or feel like you don't know what your triggers are, or feel scared of your triggers, you know, it's our brain's way of trying to protect us, and it shows us areas where we still need to do work on ourselves. So I also saw a post that was like, thank you triggers for showing me what work I still need to do. You know, approaching it that way instead of being scared of your triggers is something that I think is important, because not to say that a trigger is positive, but going into it with a positive mindset will change how you approach your mental health journey. The next question is, how do you keep going when you have no fight left? And this is a big one with depression, is feeling hopeless. I would kind of describe it as not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or me and my friend Nani, we think of it as there being a cloudy day and you can't see the sun at all, and it's storming and you can't see the sun at all. You don't even remember what the sun felt like. That's how it can feel at times. And to be at that place is honestly really scary. I would say I've struggled with suicidal ideation since I was 15, and it's very scary, and it can feel like you're alone. And I have friends who have struggled with it as well, and they tell me the same thing, that they didn't want to tell anybody because they were scared. And I just want you to know, if that's you out there, whether it's gotten to that point or not, if you feel hopeless in any situation, you are not alone. And there are people who feel the same way. There are people who love you. You are more loved than you know. You are more loved than you know. But if you are at that point, it becomes a battle of faith. Faith that, whether you're spiritual or not, faith that things will get better. Me and my friend Nani, like I said, we think about it as not remembering what the sun felt like. But the goal is that when it does storm, that you can still picture the sun, that you still remember what it felt like. So I like to do visualizations, if that makes sense. So this is something I learned in therapy, but closing your eyes and imagining your happy place, whatever that may be, whether it's a place, whether it's a person, whether it's an activity, you know, picturing what that is in your mind and going through how that made you feel. And that can just be an escape from whatever current situation you are in, a healthy escape. So that's one thing that I like to do. I also am a spiritual person, so I pray. I know that God has me covered, and if I pray for peace, He will grant it to me. If I pray for the spirit of hopelessness to be lifted from me, they will provide that for me. The divine will give that to me. I also like to look back at how far I've come. It can be really hard when you're at rock bottom to think like how far you've come, but if you can look back at past journals or past photos, or just think back to how far you've come, it can really give you even the smallest boost of confidence to get up and fight, even when you feel like you have nothing left. It also definitely helps to talk to loved ones, and they can remind you of why you're fighting and give you that fight when you feel like you don't have it in yourself to fight for yourself. It definitely helps to talk to loved ones. And if you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, I'm definitely here. You can leave your Instagram in the comments, or you can hit me up on Instagram, whatever it is. I'm always here for y'all. And I would say the last thing to help with hopelessness is to avoid negative self-talk. So what that looks like is having affirmations ready. Doing your affirmations before you get to that point. You know, doing your affirmations when you feel happy. Telling yourself, I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am strong. Therefore, when you feel so low, the first thing that comes to your mind may be that negative self-talk, like I'm weak. I can't fight anymore. I don't have it in me. But those affirmations that you've built up are going to be there to be your foundation to help you get out of that negative mind space. And the last question is, how do you get up and be your best self on your worst days? And for this question, I just want to talk about how hard it can be to get up in the morning when you are depressed. Like, it can be very hard. And one thing that helps me just physically get up out of bed is playing music. Music is something that helps me so much, whether it's gospel, whether it's just something uplifting, whatever it is, try it. You know, if you're having one of those days where you cannot get out of bed, try playing music. Get up and dance if you can, you know. I like to do affirmations every day, but especially on days where I don't feel my best. Just repeating those things to myself, like I said, it can really change your entire perspective your entire mindset. I also like to have something to look forward to every day. That's kind of something I was talking about before, whether that's doing something active or doing something you're passionate about, or even looking forward to your bedtime routine. Having something to look forward to is something that I learned in therapy that will definitely help you on your self-care journey and your mental health journey. Especially on your bad days, having something to look forward to, that's like everything. And then I would say on my worst days, being my best self looks like existing. Like just allowing myself to exist as I am. Not thinking, oh gosh, like I'm sad today. I wish I wasn't. I'm not my best self because I'm sad. No. No, no, no. Like every emotion is valid and it's a part of you. So reject the notion that on your worst day you can't be your best self because you may experience a negative emotion, you know? And I would say focus on what I can control. What can I control? I can control myself, my reactions, my mindset, my actions. I can't control everything around me. So that's definitely something that helps me be my best self on my worst day. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you stayed to the end, drop a white heart in the comments. Drop a white heart in the comments. And I thank y'all so much, and I hope that this video was helpful in any type of way. Like I said, I'm always here for you. Please DM me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please do so. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.